What's up everybody, it's Niall from Alternative Review here, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at why I think Warzone is the best Battle Royale game out there today. Saying that Warzone is the king of Battle Royale games isn't as grand a statement as it may initially seem. With so many now available, most of which are kind of half-baked attempts to capitalise on a trend, or are even a work in progress, very few polished, high-quality products exist in this genre. Warzone is one of, if not the most recent edition, having only released in early March, yet it already feels like it's taken massive strides in perfecting its gameplay cycle, tailoring it to any kind of player, whilst adding enough new layers to ensure it's not just a stale cash grab. When I drop into a game of Warzone, I have a plan before I hit the ground. There's no guarantee this plan will work. It usually depends on how many other players have similar ideas, but it's the only Battle Royale game that I feel I can honestly and truly play it tactically, and if you do it right, it puts you in the best position to win. The scale of the map plays a part, and it is enormous, but having such a grand arena of battle, you'd assume that most of it's dead space. But what's so special about Verdansk is that there's no space on this map that hasn't been designed with exactly that in mind and ensuring it's not the case. Yeah, the map is kind of a collage of sorts, with many areas being based around Call of Duty maps from games past. And the way they're stitched together, though, it's done with such precision, it makes the map easy to learn, but really hard to master. As the game goes on, and you have the traditional circle system, with the safe zone in the map getting smaller over a certain amount of time until the last round, round 8, where the circle is ever shrinking until one team is left. Over its short life, it's seen some tweaking, but it's always seemed like a fair system. As if you're going to play it safe and stick to the edges, it's designed in a way that, it will catch you out if you're not quick enough, and that can be down to strategy or the gear you're carrying. When it comes to gear, this is the kind of where the game's seen the most changes. From the pool of guns that can be found to the rarity in the spawn rates, this has been one of the most difficult things to balance in Warzone. But in less than 2 months, they've already improved it massively after a shaky start. Also, the quirk of being able to tell if a supply box is near by its distinct hum is brilliant, and something that is essential to know whether an area is going to be safe or not. Overall, whether you're the kind of player who's bloodthirsty, tactical or safe, Warzone accommodates your playstyle and makes sure that it's viable. Not necessarily easily, but every approach can work, and that's what's important. It would be an injustice for me not to also mention the Gulag, Warzone's gift to players to give them a second chance at life. When you die in game for the first time, provided it's in the first 15 minutes of the match, you're dragged off to the Gulag, where you'll go one-on-one with another player in a prison environment, with the winner dropping back into Verdansk. Granted, it's typically only pistols and shotguns in these one-on-one fights. This is a fantastic system, and whilst even as I write this I find myself slumping in the Gulag win column majorly, it's still an amazingly well thought through feature and incredibly unique. Better still, if your teammates find themselves in the Gulag with you, they can assist from above, giving you info on where your opponent is and what their strategy is looking like. The last thing I kind of wanted to talk about positively is money and contracts. You collect money throughout the world just by, finding it on the floor or killing other players, and you also get it from completing contracts. Contracts are split into bounty, scavenger and recon. You can see their locations in the map at all times as long as they're active. Scavenger has you find 3 specific marked crates in a certain amount of time for a cash and sometimes even an item reward. Recon has you hold down a specific location which will reveal the next circle, but the downside being that your presence is made aware to anyone around you via a little notification on their screen, and also it shoots up a flare from the recon location to let players know that you're there. And finally, bounty. This is where you're tasked to kill a certain player and you're given their approximate location on the map, and it's updated every few seconds. The other side of this is that the player sees that they're being tracked and they get kind of a proximity meter, so it's a little bit less detail than you get on them, but they're still aware of where you are and how close you are to them. Cash is given for completing and avoiding bounties. All of the cash built up from collecting money on the ground or completing contracts or killing players can all be used at buy stations for a range of items. This can be armor plates, kill streaks like a UAV, airstrike, cluster strike and so on, or there's more pricey items like an ammo crate or a loadout drop that allows you and your team to collect one of your pre-made loadouts, perks and all. The cash can also be used to buy back dead players who have either failed in the Gulag or succeeded, come back and died again. This price is fixed at $4,500 and they can be bought back as many times as you need to. In the interest of fairness though, I should talk about some of the things that I don't like about Warzone, because there are a few. I'm not going to go into the little issues like armor and gas mask animations or circle placement, because it's arguable that all of that comes under having a good strategy, but there have been some glaring issues that need addressing. A Warzone win can sometimes feel like the dullest part of a match. Truthfully, maybe that is a testament to how the rest of the match can play out, but at the same time, if grabbing that win isn't like a shout out loud moment, that's an issue. Don't confuse this for me saying that a win isn't rewarding at all, because it really is, but it can be a bit of a letdown when all that frantic hard work leading up to the win was more fun than the win itself. Servers can also be quite unreliable at times, and this will lead to poor game performance and severely reduced lobbies. I've jumped into a game where there's been maybe 119 to 130 odd people in the lobby. The lobby's been a bit shaky, and by the time the plane is flying over Verdansk to do the drops, there's maybe less than 60 or 70 people in the game. Finally, the third big thing that I wasn't too pleased with is the apparent indecision regarding game modes. There have been a mix of solos, duos, trios and quads available at all times, when really all four should have been available from the get-go. Now, I'm not too sure why this has changed so much, and I'm sure that they have their reasons, but it just felt a little bit unfair. Why punish those who play as a 2 or a 3 or a 4? There are probably people that wouldn't even want to play in bigger groups, but solos through to quads feels like the perfect balance. But now let's look at where Warzone stacks up against the likes of PUBG, Fortnite and Apex Legends. Well, for me, personally, it is the best. It's the most fun to play, whether it's solo or with friends. It's the hardest, but probably the most rewarding to win. It's the easiest to access, but easily the hardest to master. It may not have the character and abilities of Apex, the kind of map variety of PUBG, or the external licensing of Fortnite, but it's a damn good game that just isn't resting on its laurels. It kind of feels strange to be, praising Activision so much for this, but at the end of the day, they're smashing it. And I hope to see the support continue long into the future and, hopefully the next generation. Right guys, I know this video was really quick, but it's just something I wanted to get out there, my kind of feelings on Warzone at the minute. So thank you for sticking around, drop a like and a subscribe and comment. I'll do my best to get back in touch with everyone. You have a great day now.